We're continuing the subject of Eliyahu Hanavi as described in the Rambam. So in Halacha Beis, chapter 12, Halacha Beis, the Rambam says the following statement. It would appear from the simple text of the words of the prophets, of the Nevi'im, that what? That in the beginning of Yemei HaMashiach is going to be a war, a great, mighty war, which we discussed and we showed inside the Psukim, all these miraculous wars, and Hashem, they come and descend upon Yerushalayim, and Hashem defeats them. He amongst other things, he hails down hailstones mixed with fire, Avnei al Gavish, and amongst the many other things, with the earthquakes and other events that occur. So he says that the simple psukim would appear that that's how it is in the beginning of Yemei HaMashiach, the war. Now what happened? And he says Vishakoida Melchemes Gegu Magog. You could see in your papers before the war of Gegu Magog, Yamid Navi Liasher Yisrael Lahachem Libam. Our Navi will arise, a prophet, to straighten out the Jews, to prepare their hearts. Shnamar Hini Anechi Shalech Lechem Es Eliyahu Hanavi. Right, Lifnei Bo Yem Hashem. He doesn't quote the end of the verse, but the end of the pasuk is before the great day. Lifnei Bo Yem Hashem Hagadol V'Anoid, the great and awesome day arrives. Skip a few lines. The Rambam says, "V'yesh min hachachamim." There are those of the sages. There are those who say, "She'imrim shekoydim bias hamashiach yav Eliyahu." That Mashiach is going to come before bias hamashiach. I'm sorry, that Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come before bias hamashiach. So now, what are these two shittas? In other words, what's Yemei HaMashiach and what's bias hamashiach? That's frankly our question. The Rambam says that it would appear that in the beginning of Yemei HaMashiach you have a war, and before the war Eliyahu Hanavi comes. Then he says some Chachamim say different. They say before Mashiach comes. So what's Yemei HaMashiach? In Yemei HaMashiach, Mashiach didn't come yet. The first half, Yemei HaMashiach, Mashiach didn't come. You have Yemei HaMashiach without Mashiach. Mashiach Zeiten without Mashiach. So it felt Mashiach, but Mashiach Zeiten. Okay. Okay, the shaila is what the Rambam meant, but fine. So the answer to that would be something very interesting. You don't have the copies in front of you, but if you go back to Perek Aleph in the Rambam said what happens. He says, "Im Yamid Melech Mibeis David." If a king arises, right, and he has all the qualifications, right, he's the biggest Talmud Chacham of the generation. And he compels the Jewish people to keep Torah mitzvahs. Those who are not keeping it, he compels them to keep it. Those who are keeping it, he strengthens their keeping of it. And he fights the wars of Hashem. This person is Becheskas Mashiach. Okay? So now the Rambam goes on to say, what happens? At that point, he didn't even succeed yet. In other words, he didn't win the wars. He didn't compel all the Yidden to keep Torah mitzvahs, but he's doing it. That's Cheskas Mashiach. That person is Becheskas Mashiach. How do I know? Because it continues the Rambam. After Cheskas Mashiach, the Rambam says, Im asa vihi tzliach, if he goes on to succeed, in other words, he gets all the Yidden to keep Torah mitzvahs, he has he's in absolute control, and v'nitzech kol ha'omei shesvivav, he succeeds in being victorious of all the nations around him, in other words, he wins the war. Then he needs to go on to do the following. He has to build a Beis Hamikdash, Bana Mikdash B'Mkeimei, Kibbutz Nidchei Yisrael. He gathers in the final stages, the ingathering of the exiles. Then he's Mashiach Bevadai. Okay? So the question is, in this picture, we see Yemei HaMashiach would begin quite early. Yemei HaMashiach is Cheskas Mashiach. You have a person who's doing all these inyanim, but where would Bias HaMashiach be? In other words, if we're not counting that as Bias HaMashiach, it's just Yemei HaMashiach. If it's just the days of Mashiach, the question is, where would Bias HaMashiach be and where would Yemei HaMashiach be? So the Rebbe has an unbelievable letter from Chof Ches Menachem of Toshin Zayin, where the Rebbe discusses what's Bias HaMashiach Api Halacha. What's Bias HaMashiach Api Halacha? In other words, you have a description here in the Rambam Take. What's Bias HaMashiach? Why would it be Negel HaLacha? In other words, the Rambam Take, we have Hilchas Mashiach here. But why would it be negate to the Hagdara of what Bias HaMashiach is lahalacha? Very simple. Who knows? A person says, I'm a Nazir b'yayim shem ben David ba. I'm a Nazir in the day Mashiach comes. The question is, Mashiach is a lot of days. Mashiach's a lot of things. What's the moment that Mashiach came that you say that now you have to be a Nazir? B'yom shebet David ba. So many people get into Shaka retire, but the Rebbe has a brilliant way of figuring it out. The Gemara has a discussion in Eidavin Mem Gimel. That's what the Rebbe is really discussing in his letter. That's where the discussion of the Gemara arises. The Gemara says, what happens if you say I'm a Nazir the day Mashiach comes? The answer is that if it falls out on Shabbos, you can wait until after Shabbos. But any day before, any weekday, you have to start being a Nazir because maybe Mashiach's going to come that day, right? That's the discussion of the Gemara. So the Rebbe and the Gemara has a psavar. The Gemara suggests that Mashiach can't come on Shabbos because Tchum Shabbos. Tchum Shabbos, how's he going to travel from point A to point B? It's more than 2,000 amis. You're not allowed to walk that far. You're not allowed to travel that far. And it's a problem of Shabbos, unless you say that if you travel over a certain height in the year, it's okay. That's the pilpul in the Gemara, which we plan to get to in this shir, Mirza Hashem. So the Rebbe wants to know, why is the Gemara assuming where Mashiach is, that it has a question? Maybe Mashiach's exactly where he needs to be when he comes. How do you know where Mashiach is? And you're asking Akasha that how could he travel? Why is the Gemara assuming that he's not exactly where he's supposed to be? And the Rebbe says, basically, in the letter, that what stage is Bias HaMashiach? So at one point in the Gemara says that maybe Mashiach won't come on Friday, because it says that Mashiach won't come, Eliyahu Hanavi won't come on Friday because he doesn't want to disturb the Yidden's preparation for Shabbos. So the Gemara says, for the same price, maybe Mashiach won't come on Friday because he doesn't want to disturb the Yidden preparing for Shabbos. The Gemara says, no. Why? On Friday, when Mashiach comes, Hakel Avodim Heim Li Yisrael. When Mashiach comes, everyone's Avodim to the Yidden. So we don't have to worry about preparing for Shabbos, because we're going to have people who are going to prepare for us on Shabbos. So you don't have to worry. Mashiach could definitely come on Friday. That won't be an issue. So the Rebbe brilliantly says that, what do I see from this Gemara? That what stage is Bias HaMashiach? When Avodim Heim Li Yisrael. Everyone asks Akasha, is it a raya from this Gemara that the moment Mashiach comes, everyone has to be Avodim Li Yisrael? Everyone's asking Kashas, and the Rebbe has a whole different perspective, which turns everything on its face, and it's not even a question. He's saying, we see from here that Al Pi Halacha, what's the get that a person says the day Mashiach comes? When is Mashiach here? When Avodim Heim Li Yisrael. And in the course of the Rambam, the description of the Rambam of the coming of Mashiach, when he wins the Milchama. Remember we said in Yabid Melech Beis David, and he's being Mekadab all the Yidden, and he's fighting the wars. So when he wins the war, B'nitzich, when he's Neitzeach, when Hakel Avodim Heim Li Yisrael, that's the stage where Mashiach came. And Al Pi Pashtus, it also makes sense, because that's the moment that you know that Al Pi Derech HaTeva, now we're about to have the Binyan Beis HaMikdash, we're about to have Kibbutz Golias, right? There's nothing standing in his way anymore, the Eibishter's on his side. He won the wars, but Al Kapanim, this is the raya from the Gemara that the Rebbe brings. Stam, to finish off the verse of the Rebbe's letter, the Rebbe says, and where does the Milchama happen? He says, so look in the wars of Milchama Gog and Magog, the Rebbe says. And Al Pi Pashtus, this is the wars of Mashiach. Where does it happen? In Yerushalayim. Where does Mashiach have to present himself? In Tveria, to the Bezdin HaGadol, to the Supreme Court of the Jewish people. Because Mashiach has to either, when it says Mashiach comes, he has to come either to every Yid, or he has to come to the representatives of Gans Klal Yisrael, which is the Bezdin HaGadol, which is in Tveria. And from Yerushalayim to Tveria is more than Tchum Shabbos. We're going to get back to this letter when we get into the sugi of Eidavin, which is a whole sugi b'fnei atzmai. It's a discussion for itself. But Al Kapanim, what are we taking from this letter of the Rebbe? What are we trying to get from this letter? Now, look back in the Rambam. What are the two shittas when Mashiach's going to come? Shitta number one about when Mashiach's going to come. Shitta number one is that the Rambam says that Pashtus Aksun, the simple meaning of the text would tell me that in the beginning of Yemais HaMashiach is going to be the war of Gog and Magog. In other words, the Milchames Hashem, Mashiach fights the wars of Hashem. Milchames Gog and Magog. Keep in mind, why, by the way, is winning the wars? Why is that a key criteria for Mashiach? Without getting into the pratim. But being that Mashiach's job is Shleimus HaTeira VaMitzvah, he has to bring the Teira Mitzvahs to Shleimusai. And as long as we don't have the Menuchas HaNefesh, that we have no enemies, who could even threaten us? We can't truly and totally devote ourselves to the service of Hashem. So by definition, if Mashiach's job is to bring Shleimus HaTeira VaMitzvah, then if he doesn't win the wars, if he doesn't make this happen, then it means that this is a key element of of Mashiach coming. So he says, so in the beginning, Mashiach is going to be Mochamed Gog Magog. In other words, he deals with all the threats. And the Navi, it's mashma from the Navi that before that happens, in other words, sometime before the war is when Eliyahu Navi comes. Option number two, before Bias HaMashiach. In other words, at the end of the wars. The day before Mashiach, Bias HaMashiach, the day before the great moment where we win everything and now Mashiach's the one in charge of the world, or at least the area of Eretz Yisrael and its surrounding areas. Nitzech Kol Humish Svivav. So, but at the moment the guy is declared as Mashiach, basically, essentially, the day before that is when Eliyahu Hanavi comes. Okay, these are the two opinions. Now, let's discuss it a moment. Okay. What? Well, he quotes the pasuk. Interesting diuk, and we have to look into that. But he quotes immediately Shenamar. Right? Fine. Upon him, what does it say in the pasuk? What's the end of that pasuk? Hashem says, "I'm going to send you Eliyahu Hanavi. Lifnei boy yoim Hashem hagadol v'hanoira." The question is, what is that day going on? What is the great day of Hashem? So that l'chayda is the machlokes here between these two opinions. Is it going on Mashiach, Bias HaMashiach, or it's going on Mochamed Gog Magog? Right. So if you look at the psukim for a moment, which you don't have in front of you. Right? The makar of these words, not the makar. These words are from Malachi, it's from a Navi. But this term, Yoim Hashem Hagadol V'Hanoid, already appears in a different Navi, in Yoel, who's a Navi who describes Mochamed Gog Magog. And he says, V'nasati moivsim hashamayim uva'aretz dam va'eish v'simreis ashan. The blood, where everyone fights each other and kills each other, the Goyim, it's going to be like a civil war. Va'eish, like we said, fire is going to fall down from Shamayim, v'simreis ashan. It's going to burn up the earth, so you have pillars of smoke going up from the earth. That's pasuk 1. Next pasuk, he says the sun will turn black. The moon will become blood-like. Before the great and awesome and scary day of Hashem arrives. The problem is this pasuk doesn't give us really enough information, so we still haven't defined. So what's that great day? What arrives? So the truth is, there's many pasukim which would clearly imply that it's Mochamed Gog Magog, right? Because it keeps talking about Bayom Hahu. Like there's one great day, and it's going many times on the war of Gog Magog. Just to take two examples, in Zechariah Hanavi, when he describes the war of Gog Magog, he says, "V'haya b'yoyim hahu tihiyeh mehumas Hashem rabba b'hem." Hashem will cause mass confusion amongst the goyim, and b'yoyim hahu. That's the day. And also in Yechezkel, Hashem says, "I'm going to send a fire into Magog, and they're going to know that I'm Hashem." And my sanctified name, Hashem Kadshi Eidia B'Seich Ami Yisrael, I'm going to let my nation Israel know my great holy name. I'm not going to allow my holy name to be desecrated anymore. V'yadu Hagoyim Ki Ani Hashem Kaddish B'Yisrael. The Goyim will know that I am Hashem, holy in Israel. And now he says, Hine Ba'av V'Nihiyasa, behold, it has come to pass in the Hashem Elikim, Hu Hayoyim Asher Dibarti. This is the day of which I have spoken. So these psukim would clearly seem to point to the direction that it seems to make sense that I'm saying. He says, Pashto Saksurim, that the simple text would tell me that when is Eliyahu Hanavi coming? He's coming before Mochamed Gog Magog. However, you have other psukim which would seem to be connected with Beis HaMikdash. For example, you have psukim in Yechezkel. Someone's, I think, looking in Yechezkel right now. In Zechariah, I'm sorry. It says, Hashem's going to make a spring go out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, out of the Beis HaMikdash. That's connected with the Beis HaMikdash. Also in Yoel, he has a pasuk, the mountains will drip with wine. Umayon bi Beis Hashem Yetze, a fountain will go forth from the house of Hashem. That's has to do with the Beis HaMikdash. And then we have and also more psukim connected to the Beis Hamikdash. On that day, the horses, even the bells of the horses, are going to be hektish, right? There won't be any merchants anymore in the house of God on that day. So we're talking about the Beis Hamikdash. Another option, a very famous pasuk in Zechariah. It sounds like the day that Hashem is the Melech, where the Mashiach is the Melech, he's the representative of Hashem, which is not Mochamed Gog Magog. But let's ask a different question. How many days are there? What is this, one day? It's different days. They keep saying Bayemahu. What do you think the pshat is? It's one long day. Pasha, the sun it's like the day when they crossed the Yarden. You know that crazy day that the Gemara describes in Saita. The same day they crossed the Yarden. They did the Klalis. They traveled. They built the monument. They brought the Karbanis Achav V'Shasa. They went to Gilgal. Like a lot of things happened that day. But to suggest that it's such a miraculous day, it's a big deichak over here to try to push that. But the answer to that question is one of the psukim in Yecheskel really gives us the answer to that. Just for everyone's information, I'm quoting a bunch of different Nevi'im, but it's 3 Nevi'im who speak about Gog and Magog, so it's not so many different Nevi'im. It's Yoel, Zechariah, and Yecheskel. So, just for everyone's information. So, in Yecheskel, if you look in Yecheskel, he says the following. He says, Hashem describes the carnage, the total carnage of the annihilation of all these goyim who are coming to fight the Yidden. He said, I'm gonna fill up my shulchan with the horses, and everyone's gonna be dead. And then he says, I'm gonna put my kavod by the goyim. The goyim will see the justice that I have committed. And he says, and the Yidden will know that I'm their God from that day on. Finally, the first time out of all these psukim, and there are dozens of psukim, Bayemahu, Bayemahu, Bayemahu. Finally, he says one pasuk which gives us breathing room. He says, Min Hayemahu Vahala, and on. In other words, what makes sense, we're talking about a tkufa, Bayemahu, from a certain day on, Min Hayemahu Vahala, we have the period of this great, glorious picture of Hashem. But based on what we just said, what kumtais? So if I have to choose Bayemahu, it says Eliyahu is going to come in the pasuk. What's it say? Lefnei boy yom Hashem, before the day of Hashem arrives. So what would I say from the beginning of this whole period, right? Instead of me choosing one of the inyanim in the period, let me go from the beginning. Lefnei boy, before the day of Hashem comes, right? And that would be Api Pashut. That would be Api Pashut. And by the way, Grade, very interesting. The Chassam Sofer Take, he discusses this Rambam. The Chassam Sofer learns that according to both shittas, he's going to come before Muhammad's Gog and Magog, Eliyahu Hanavi. That's what he says. And he says the machlokes in the Rambam is what? When is Muhammad's Gog and Magog going to happen? Before Mashiach or after Mashiach? That's how the Chassam Sofer wants to learn Pshat here in the Rambam. Of course, if you read the Rambam, just look at the Rambam for yourselves, you'll see that it's not mashma pashta Pshat azay in the Rambam. The Rambam never seemed to doubt for a second that according to Pashtus HaPsukim, according to the simple reading of the text, Muhammad's Gog and Magog happens before Mashiach comes. It's in Yemois HaMashiach, right? And his only doubt is, he says, Yesh min HaChachamim, who say that before Bias HaMashiach, Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come. He's not discussing, he never changed his mind when Muhammad's Gog and Magog is going to happen. That was never part of the equation, and that's not how the Rebbe learns, Taka. The Rebbe learned, like we discussed at length in previous shiurim, that according to both shittis, Eliyahu Hanavi is coming before Bias HaMashiach. Before Bias HaMashiach. And that's how it's mashma in the Rambam. And also think about the Mekayis of the Rambam. Where's the Rambam getting you from? Let's go a deeper question. Where's the Rambam Taka getting you from these two different shittis that he's quoting? Who are these two shittis? The answer is very pashut. In a split second. In off the bat, without getting too barichas. The place in Eidavin, the Gemara in Eidavin Daf Mem Gimel, where the Gemara says that he's coming a day before Mashiach comes, that's the second shitta. The day before, right? The day before means he's here basically to be mevaser the Gula. He's going to give the Besudas Hagula, he's going to announce, herald the arriving of Melech HaMashiach. Fine. According to the other, but then if you look in the Mishnah in the end of Eidius, Mashiach is here to do a whole job. He's here to return the Yidden to the Eibishter, and you have 4 shittas in the Mishnah. What exactly? L'taher, l'tamei, l'havishalim l'olam, l'hashvis hamachloikesin, all these, Eliyahu Hanavi, I'm sorry. In other words, the Mishnah in Eidius is taking a different approach than the Gemara in Eidavin. It's learning that there's a whole tzkufa, there's a whole meshech zman that Eliyahu Hanavi is here to make the world, to make things right. Right? And that's where the Rambam is getting it from, these two shittas. These two shittas. And according to, so the shaila then arises, so according to both of these shittas, however, the Mashiach, the Eliyahu Hanavi, according to, so based on these two sources, the Shitta, the Eidavin, the Gemara in Eidavin clearly says he's coming right before Mashiach comes, before Bias HaMashiach, the day before Mashiach comes. But the Gemara in Eidavin, the Mishnah in Eidius clearly has a different view, and the Rambam learns that actually it's following the Pashta Pshat and the Pesukim. That is coming before when? The beginning of the Tzkufa. Hashem says, the day, when's the Bayemahu begin? Mechemes Gog Magog. So in other words, Eliyahu Hanavi is coming a Meshech Zman, who knows how long. Mashiach's coming way before the day that Mashiach actually ends up winning everything and being the leader of the world. So now, but l'chayda, based on how we explained the Rambam, what Bias HaMashiach is according to the Rambam, and what Mechemes Gog Magog is according to the Rambam, based on what we explained, it comes out that what are the two shittas really? According to the first shitta, Eliyahu Hanavi comes in the beginning of the wars of Hashem. According to the second shitta, he comes in the day that he wins the war. So if you start looking in the psukim, you'll see that both pshatim actually make sense in the psukim. They could both fit into the psukim themselves. Because think about it, a lot of the days that it's describing throughout these psukim are the day that Hashem makes Mashiach win the war. And Hashem says that day, from that day on, when I do my justice among, and Hashem says it's like the day of Kriyas Yamsuf. It's going to be that day when I make you win the war. Both pshatim make sense. The first pshat that's going on, Pasha, the beginning of the war, how did the psukim open up with the beginning of the war? What does it say? It says, V'haya bayoim hahu. This word bayim hahu is just appearing everywhere. I don't know. It says, V'haya bayim hahu yalu dvarim alav. It's talking about Gog Magog, and it says, words are going to enter into your heart. V'chashavta machsheves ra'ah. And a bad thought's going to come to rise against the Yidden. In other words, Mamash, the beginning of the war. And also in the Bescharia, the Mamash, in the beginning of the Nevuah, he says, Hine yoim bal Hashem, a day to Hashem, v'chulak shlalech bekirbech. You're going to be conquered at the beginning of the war where things aren't going so good for the Yidden. Right? So we see that Pasha, the Milchama really begins then. Yoim Ahu really l'chayda begins then. Api Pashtus. That's why the Rambam says that according to Pashtus Aksuv, Mashiach's coming before the Milchamas Gog Magog, the beginning of it. However, l'idach Yiseh, why is it called Yoim Hashem? Because we begin losing the war? What do you think it's called Yoim Hashem? Hagodl v'hanoida. Why is it called such an amazing day? The Holocaust is Yoim Hashem. I'm saying not that it's going to be like the Holocaust, but I'm saying, but why is it called Yom Hashem? Because of the Gilei Elikus, because of the Nitzachim, because of the victory of the war. If you look immediately in the Hemshech HaPsukim, the very next pasuk in Zechariah, what does he say? V'yotza Hashem b'nilcham b'goyim ahem. The Hashem is going to go out and fight the goyim. Kiyoyim hilacham b'yem krav, like the day he fought them at Kriyas Yamsuf. V'omdu raglov b'yem ahu al har zeisim. His feet are going to stand on the Mount of Olives on that day. And he's going to split the mountain in half, the great earthquake, and you're going to run away. And he says, "Ubo Hashem Elokai Kol Kedoshim." Hashem will reveal Himself with all His malachim, right? And then it continues in Pasuk Ches, and that's the mountain split, and then a stream starts going out of the Harabayas, going into the valley. A living water will go out of Yerushalayim. And Hashem lemelech hakol haaretz bayem hahu yihiyeh. In other words, based on what it said in Zechariah, that Hashem will know that I'm their God. From that day on, I could easily learn Pshat, and that's how many Mefarshim, that's how the Gemara is learning Pshat and Eruvin, that what's that day on? The day when Hashem gives victory to Mashiach. The day that Mashiach, the day of Hakel Avodim Heim Yisrael. The day that he wins the war, not when the war begins. The day that he wins the war, before Bias HaMashiach, when it says before the day of Hashem, that's what it's going on. But of course, still, Api Pashtus HaPsukim, the fact is the words Bayem Ahu begin, Hine Yoim Bal Hashem, begins when they descend upon Yerushalayim. Bayayim hahu, Hashem will put a thought to enter Yerushalayim. Bayayim hahu, they're going to be conquered. In other words, the Bayayim hahu, lefnei boy yom Hashem, the day of Hashem really begins in the beginning of the war, Gog Magog, and that's why Api Pashtus HaPsukim, that's what's going to happen. But you have a machlokes, that's the two shittas brought down in the Rambam. Now, to conclude the shir, because the very next line, now what's the Rambam coming to say? And it's very Yisayidistic. Look at the next line that we didn't read from. Continues the Rambam, V'chol elu hadvarim, all of these things, v'kayetze behem, and anything similar to it, lo yeda adam eich yihiyu, ad sheyihiyu. No one knows how it will be until it will be. Shadvarim stumen hem eitzel neviim. It's very cryptic by the Nevi'im, or it's susum. What? Vague. No one understands it. The Chacham don't have a tradition about it. Just based on how you read the Psukim. That's why they have machlokes about everything. No one really knows. What's the Rambam saying? What's the Rambam going on? What do you think that Rambam's going on? When he says, V'chol elu hadvarim, what do you think he's going on? All of these things. If you read this halacha al pi Pashat, he only said one thing. He only brought up one machlekes. He said, when is Eliyahu Hanavi going to come? That's the only machlekes he brought up. What's he mean? V'chol elu hadvarim, all of these things. And then he's moisiv even a further word. V'chol kayetze behem, and anything similar to it. Right? What's the Rambam coming to say? The Rambam's not referring to this one narrow machlekes. The Rambam already set forth in the previous perek what Mashiach is. What Mashiach is. And the Rambam was very adamant against that. Don't think miracles have to happen. It shouldn't even enter your heart. He said in one place. Another place it shouldn't enter your brain. Nothing to do with Mashiach, because Mashiach is one thing and one thing only. What's Mashiach? Shleimas hateirev ha-mitzvah. Everything else reject. Frekt hashayla. The Rambam, this perek, starts bavaroning questions against himself. He has to, right? How does he begin the perek? It says that the sheep will sleep with will lie with the lamb, akasha. So he says it's going on peace between the nations. Right? He gives an answer. Then he comes to our pasuk. We asked last week, we said, why didn't he bring Mashiach ben Yosef? He's already bringing midrashim. The Rambam does not have to deal with every medrash. He's dealing with psukim b'furashim. He's asking with what he has to bavarid. It says in the Navi Mefurish, it's promised in the Navi that Hashem says, I'm going to send you Eliyahu Hanavi. Right? Isn't that Yisoidistic to Mashiach, Eliyahu Hanavi? And Nochem is Gegumageg. The Rambam's not going on this, not only on this machlekes. He's going on everything he spoke about right now. He's saying when I quoted to you that in the beginning that it's mashma yeiraem mipshutum shalaksuvim shal divrei hanavim. It's mashma from the simple reading of the text that Mochamed Gegumageg is going to happen in the beginning of Yemei Mashiach. Right? I have a big kasha for you. Right? Anyone who reads Mochamed Gegumageg, you know what you're going to find something amazing. Molei v'gadish with miracles. Miracles right, left. There's literally hail with fire coming down from Shamayim. Meshugan is achin. How could the Rambam say that Mashiach doesn't have to do any miracles? If it says in the Psukim that in Tchilas Yemais HaMashiach, Mochamed Gegumageg happens, what do you mean? You know what Mochamed Gegumageg is? It's such a miraculous phenomenon. The Rambam is here to say that his point is that that's what it says in Pashtus HaKsuvim, but I don't know what it really means. That's what the Rambam's saying. When it says Yeiram b'pshutim shel divrei hanavim azoy and azoy, he says that's not what Mashiach is. Mashiach is shleimus hateirev ha-mitzvah, and therefore anything which is not relevant to shleimus hateirev ha-mitzvah, I can't tell you how it's really going to look l'maisa. Is it relevant that a fire has to come down? What if a spiritual fire comes down? What if this happens? What if you just win a war without fire? Right? When is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? It's nothing to do with Mashiach, he says, and therefore that's how it looks. And also Eliyahu Hanavi. His point is not for sure it's going to be like one of these two shittas. He's saying, B'chlal, I don't even know what it means that Eliyahu Hanavi, I know he's going to come, he says, but I can't make a tanai about it. Maybe when Mashiach comes, you know, like when you introduce someone at a podium, right? Someone, it's like you want to introduce them to the Elam. Right? Maybe Eliyahu Hanavi is going to introduce Mashiach. That's what it means. He says, neither of these shittas, he says, no one, this is not a Yisayidistic Izach. Kol Elu had Devarim Ketzmem Lo Yeda Adam. No one knows how it's going to be. No one knows how it's going to be. That's the Ma'isa, what the Rambam is coming to say. Where am I getting this from? It's Pasha, that's the Rambam. By the way, it comes out of Yisayidistic Izach here, because the Rambam, he's going on everything he said. We know there's a famous chiddush of the Rambam himself that he wrote in a letter in the Get Ches HaMesim that he says that when I said no miracles are going to happen, I don't know for sure. Maybe miracles are going to happen, but he said all I meant to say is what? That it's not negeya to Mashiach. It's it happens, it doesn't happen. It's negeya. It's not relevant.
He says he's not coming to do miracles.
Oh, punkt azay. The Rambam writes in a letter, but the Shaila, he never said mefurish. He was very adamant that there's not going to be no miracles. Basically, where does he say that? I don't know. Maybe there will be miracles. Over here, l'chayda, he's suggesting also maybe there will be miracles. In other words, what did he say? He said, it's mashma in the Pesukim that what? That Mochamed Gegumageg is going to happen in the beginning. But he says, you know what? Who knows what's going to be? In other words, the Rambam is basically, he's questioning himself also. In other words, maybe there will be miracles, maybe there won't be. It's mashma from the Pesukim that there will be miracles. That's what he just said. Yeidam b'pshutim shel hanavim. That there's going to be Mochamed Gegumageg. Mochamed Gegumageg, pshutim shel haksuvim. You read the Pesukim, it's miracles. He says, but no one knows. I can't make that a condition. He says, I can't make that a condition. Maybe there will be, maybe there won't be. I don't know. And he says, I don't know, and they don't know. No one knows. All we know is Torah mitzvahs is forever and ever, and Mashiach's here to bring back Torah mitzvahs. Everything else is not relevant. But for the same price, the Rambam just told us there could very well be miracles. He himself just paskin that in the Rambam. The Rebbe, the Rebbe said a sicha to girls in the Shchedesh Tammuz Lamed Aleph, and the Rebbe finished off the sicha saying, I'm going to conclude with this word, basically, the Rebbe concluded the sicha saying that we went to Golos because of sinning, so the moment we get rid of our Avedis, Mashiach comes automatically, boom. So the Rebbe has a ha'ara, Eliyahu Hanavi didn't come yet. How could I say Mashiach comes in a split second, but the Siba, but the Mesubav? The reason for Golos goes away, that we stop sinning, the Mashiach comes right away. What about the reality we didn't do Tshuva yet? What about Mashiach, Eliyahu Hanavi coming? So the Rebbe answers in the Ha'ara, in the second answer. Get to the other answer another time. But the Rebbe says, or the reality, since if we're to Eifen of Zachu Achishena, V'yavi Koidim is Galas Eliyahu. If we have Zachu, Mashiach comes before Eliyahu Hanavi comes. And then he gets this from the Kreisi Uplesi and from the Eitzer Balum. And the Rebbe says, Uberambam Hilchis Malachim, the Rebbe quotes, V'yesh min ha'chachamim chulhu. You see the second sheet of V'yesh min ha'chachamim. And the Rebbe says, V'chol elu hadvarim chulhu. Right? And the Rebbe, by the way, brings this same vart down, this ha'ara and this vart, without the first part of the ha'ara. In other words, this vart that Mashiach comes before Eliyahu, if we're zeicha, in the famous sikha about the two tzkufis, in the Chelech Chavzayin, Parshas Buch Kesar. The Rebbe brings the same vart. What's the vart that Rebbe essentially is bringing? The Rebbe is bringing that, remember, both shittas say that he's coming before Mashiach, but the Rebbe is quoting now. No one knows what's happening, Lamaisa. No one knows how it's going to happen. Right? Just to quote in other words, basically, the Rebbe is learning Kabbanas Haramim, is going on all the Inyanim, and fine. Very good. Okay, so there's more to talk about, but that's the conclusion of this Shir L'Chayda. And one last word, though. Oh, let's just say one makar where the Rebbe got it from, so it shouldn't be the Rebbe's Achidish. L'Chayda is Pashta Pshat the Rambam, but the Rebbe's this particular word that Mashiach come before Eliyahu Hanavi. If we are Zoicha, so the Eitzer Balub schreibt, say from a few hundred years ago. It's like one of the Agadat, the ones being Mefarish Agadat, I believe, like 300-400 years ago. But in any event, the famous Gemara where where Mashiach told maybe Rabbi Shua ben Levi, I don't know. Yeah, Rabbi Shua ben Levi. He says, "When are you coming?" He said, "Today." So everyone asked the kasha, what do you mean today? Eliyahu Hanavi didn't come yet. The day before, Eliyahu Hanavi has to come, a kasha. So the Eitzer Balum says, Pshat, that when he went back to Eliyahu Hanavi to ask a question, how could he tell me today? He wasn't asking the next day because Mashiach didn't come yet. He asked Eliyahu Hanavi, how could you say that Mashiach would come today if you didn't come yet? If Eliyahu Hanavi didn't come yet, how could Mashiach have told me that he's coming today? So Eliyahu Hanavi told him back, that if you listen to the Eibishter, there's no schayvus to have the inyan of this before that. Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come eventually, but to say that it has to give this before that, it's not a yisoid in Yiddishkeit. That's the Rambam's point. Don't make yisoid this out of any of these inyanim. He says, I don't buy it, and just to read the continuation of the line, these are not core to Yiddishkeit, to the religion. He says, what's it have to do with the religion? But what you do have to know in the religion, in Yiddishkeit, is that Torah and mitzvahs is forever and ever, and that it's going to come, and that's what the Rambam is here to tell us in this halacha. Mashiach now.